and that versatility. Like I've been hammering this home because I've finally like been seeing it. Like I knew about Dalayah Daniels before this year, right? Seattle kid, all this and that. Like basically best friends with Rowan. Wink, not really. Rowan knew of Dalayah growing up. But it's just been really amazing to watch what she does on the court. I mean, it doesn't always translate into this massive stat line, but the blocks, I think she's second all time in program history for blocks. The rebounding has been a thing. And even earlier in the season, when they were still going with the Tyra Daniels starting five, like Tina was talking about how I keep saying Tyra was talking about. We've only heard from her like once this year. Tina talked about how Dalayah like had transitioned into this traditional post last year and has been working to get back out of that this year, and now she's back in it. Like she just kind of does everything. Maybe not shoot threes, but it's just been really fascinating to see here and there. Her form is fascinating. It's been really amazing to watch how incredibly versatile that she has been for this team, and whether that's by force or, just how she plays the game, right? Because you guys have talked about it. She's kind of needed to be that for Washington, and she's been that, and whether it's like being on an island with a player I think it was late into that Maryland game that I talked about that, or, the task that she had against USC. So I know we've done a lot of praise already, but we're gonna do more. Um, Gosh, who did I start with last time? Was it Bella that I started with last time? I'm getting old. Was it Rowan who I started with? I don't, or I'm gonna throw to Rowan because Rowan's doing hand signals.
I can't remember either.
I don't know. I'm getting old. Rowan, I need to lay a Daniels praise, and I need it
Oh my,
now. Then
I
Bella, I
feel
need it
like I've
too.
already done all, or not done all the praise that I can, but I feel like she's all I've been talking about today. But another thing I just was thinking about when I was talking about defense and choosing when to do different things. There was one point late in the game that I believe Delayah was on Juju, and I believe Chloe Briggs was on Kiki or if something like that. And it's so interesting because the more that I looked at it, I noticed that it was to kind of make sure that if there was a pick and roll action, that Delayah could be there to defend Kiki or EFN and being able to switch on defense. But what was so fascinating about it is that it's not crazy for Delayah to be guarding Juju Watkins. And that's the thing that I just think is so special about her is that she can move like a guard. She can shoot the mid range, like a guard, but then she can defend again some of the best posts in the country. That's, huge. And I think that that's something that is definitely going to be missed next year. And just from a personal standpoint, yeah, I've been watching. I've known of Delayah since probably I was in elementary school at this point and played against her in high school. All the things. And it's just crazy to think about this being her last year of basketball and just seeing her evolution. I think it's been amazing, and she's just been so great for UW. And honestly, at the beginning of this season, I was kind of joking about her being picked by the Storm in the third round, just because I know that they like to do it with the hometown kind of kids bringing them back. But knowing not to get into Storm stuff right now, but knowing what the Storm is looking like, knowing the way that she's playing, it seems like it's actually honestly the perfect pick for the Storm in the third round, and just give her a shot in training camp and see what happens. But anyway, all the Dalayah Daniels praise today, I guess. But I just think that she's been great all season and feels like she is continuing to get better, and kind of a bit of a Gabby Williams feel to me a little bit, just in this like stat stuffing category. And that's just, again, lots of Storm and UW basketball going on in my brain right now. So that's the comp right now. But then being able to guard those big posts has been huge against these Big Ten teams who have a lot bigger of a post presence than UW has.
Yeah, I honestly, now that I think about it, would not mind having Delayah be a backup four to Nneka Ogwumike. You've got your five pretty figured out.
Right?
And like if you don't want to play undersized Gabby Williams, Alicia Clark at the floor four, which I feel like is kind of the plan that is they're going for right now based
I'm
on who they
saying,
have.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense. I feel like something that impressed me, like part of the her what makes her so great, right, is that she has sort of like guard-like athleticism and speed. Okay. Um, and like something that particularly impressed me a couple times during the USC game, I think it was, and even the Oregon game, she would sort of sense or see that whoever was guarding her sort of around the top of the key was suddenly looking somewhere else, right? Not quite paying attention to her, and she would take the opportunity to rip around and go straight to the basket because she knew that her defender was not as fast as her. And like it was sort of her moment to strike. And I feel like she's really good at finding those moments to, you know, figure out what the best way to get a bucket is. Like, does she need to be setting a screen? Does she need to be, trying to rip and go to the basket? Is she doing a spin move, step back situation? We've seen that a couple times. Um, like she just has a variety. And I think there are, times a little earlier in the season where we'd see her maybe try and force something that wasn't, she wanted to do a specific move and it just wasn't the time for it. And as the season has gone on, she's really recognized, what the defense is doing and what is then available to her. And I think it's made her very efficient. First of all, I mean, it's just, if you get the best shot available, then you have a better shot. You have a better shot of making it. And I just think that sort of IQ is not always like obviously visible. Um, in addition to like the good shooting and the good defense. She's really great at playing physical. Like there are those sorts of things that you can see, and then there are some things where I just feel like her decision making is a bit underrated, to be honest. I think you know, she's she's not taking as many of the threes as she was earlier in the season. I think she was maybe a little too eager to shoot them at one point. It's like it's a flat three, but she can hit it, right? And that's again like you want that floor spacing, and so I just think I really have loved seeing her decision making and her ability to use her own skill set, like know what she is best at and know when the things that she are best at is things she is best at grammar things she is best at when they are most effective to use. And I think that's where you could see her becoming a pro is that that smart playing of playing to your strengths at the right times. And because you could say like, oh, okay, I'm being guarded by 6'8" Philly Che. Like, I'm not gonna go and like try and get a layup. But at times, Che gets distracted and is looking the other way, and you go and she can't catch up. And she was so good at recognizing those kinds of moments. And the part of the problem is that they don't all those moments don't always happen. But I think she's been really great about that, and I think she'll only get better, to be honest. I mean, that's what she's done her whole career, and it's also just it's lovely seeing her. She's talked about how it was like completely the right decision for her to come finish her career in Seattle. She did a video about getting her dad courtside seats for the entire season to watch her senior season. He's there every game.
It's so
Like
sweet.
it's so sweet. And so I just think she's a wonderful part of the program. Like, and I think she's like pretty clearly a voice in that locker room too. Like people listen to her and trust her and know that she knows what she's talking about. And I hope we get to see her play as a pro for at least a little while. I was kind of bummed we didn't get Lauren Schwartz as a pro. I'm, happy great she went right into coaching, and that's a wonderful addition to the UW coaching staff. But I do hope Dalayah gets a chance to sort of show how, in terms of her uniqueness as a player, she can bring value to teams.
I don't mean to keep bringing up the Storm UW sort of like Storm talk while we're doing UW, but like versatility, I think in obviously a lot of sports will get you a roster spot at minimum, just a roster spot or an invite, right? You'll get your foot in the door, and not to like downplay to just versatility, but Joyner Holmes had versatility with Seattle, right? Like it didn't work out so much this year, for reasons, but like versatility will keep getting you a job, and so I think Dalayah will certainly get looks. I don't know where it would be. My whiteboard says one thing, but yeah, no, I mean it's just been so remarkable, blocks, rebounds, steals, the flat three. Like it's she's a very fun player to watch. And with some of their best players in Delia and L, I mean, well, yeah, and Savia, like they're very different, those two, and then Delia, and it's nice to have that sort of contrast. Like I think it was kind of mentioned, if you had a more of a bench or more maybe of an experienced bench, we're talking about different things as we now head into the last 4 games of the season with their first ever matchup. I didn't know this. Their first ever matchup against Rutgers. They've never played Rutgers before. The Black History Month game. It is a tragedy what Adidas has done with the Black History Month jerseys. They used to look so much better, especially Washington's. They were beautiful. I loved whenever those would come out. And I was like, hey, we're gonna get to see them this year. And I'm covered. No, it's pathetic. Um, at Nebraska, at Minnesota. So a little 2 game road trip after this Rutgers game. And then they come back home for senior day against Oregon, which is a big deal. And before we started this show, I was just looking at the Big Ten standings on.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about them Huskies?
Ooh, purple and gold, baby.
Yeah. When are you going to watch all those away games, though?
All those away games. There are a lot of them, and I was hoping to come to Rough and Tumble because this is the home of Circling Saddle Sports. If that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Hope to see you all here.